So, this is going to be my review of Batman Tarzan, The Claws of the Catwoman. This is another DC Dark Horse crossover. And yeah, this was written by Ron Mars and artwork by Ego Cordry, I believe the last name is. What did I think of this little crossover between Batman and Tarzan? It's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun little crossover. It's a hell of a lot better than the Tarzan vs. Predator comic I remember reading. Which I actually still own. And yeah, now this is again in the wheel. This was one of the DC Dark Horse crossovers that they did. Funny enough, Ron Mars would then later actually after this go on to do Green Lantern versus Aliens. So yeah, and he also did Batman Aliens. So Ron Mars had done a good amount of the DC Dark Horse crossovers. So this story is, for those wondering, well, how does Batman meet Tarzan? Well, this is an Elseworld story. This is technically an Elseworld story of Batman, like in the early 1800s, early to mid 1800s, and the story goes is that Batman, Bruce Wayne, is after meeting Tarzan in a museum, and this is what I like is that they actually, he meets Lord Greystoke, which is, John Clayton, aka Tarzan. And what I like is that, everyone knows that he's Tarzan. And Tarzan's just like, that's who I am. Tarzan is, that's like my alias. And Batman later on that night encounters a woman dressed as a cat who turns out to be this Egyptian princess from a lost kingdom hidden deep in Africa. So, through shenanigans, Batman and Tarzan go out and stop this guy named Finnegan Dent, who is this universe's Two-Face. So this comic is just a lot of fun. Just feels like, the artwork especially from Ego Cordry, this makes it feel like a fun, just romp through like your typical pulp novel. This feels like a classic pulp novel, that you would read. Like, this is something that you would, this is something you would read with, like, you would half expect someone like Doc Savage to show up at any point. That's what I love about this, that it feels just like the artwork and how the writing goes. It just feels like almost like an Indiana Jones story. And I love how Batman and Tarzan play off each other throughout this comic. Is that, you've got Batman who doesn't kill, and he's out of his element. And then you've got Tarzan, who his first instinct is killing. And he knows his way around not only the city, but also deep in the heart of Africa. Now, what I like about this is that, while I do enjoy some Tarzan stuff, I'm not the biggest guy in Tarzan lore. I'm not the biggest guy to read a lot of Tarzan lore, which is where the Tarzan vs. Predator comic lost me. This one is, do you know who Tarzan is? Do you know who Jane is? Good, then you already know. But the sad part is you'd only see Jane for a few pages. This focuses solely on Batman and Tarzan in this crossover. And I feel like Ron Mars understood that, Tarzan, not a lot of people know what Tarzan's all about. He just has adventures in Africa, and he's one with the apes. That's all you need. That's all general audience knows, so I'm gonna roll with that. And Ron Mars did, in fact, roll with that, and it is kind of fun to see that, you would think in a typical Batman crossover, as we've so often seen with these, with a vast majority of Batman crossovers, is that Batman usually takes center stage, he usually takes the spotlight, and the other characters kind of get pushed to the side or get demeaned. That was one of my problems with the first Batman TMNT crossovers, that it feels like Batman kind of overshadows the Ninja Turtles at points. In a vast majority. Here, Tarzan's the one who kind of, who really takes the center stage at points. And again, it doesn't but at the same time, they don't overshadow Batman at several times. They don't overshadow Batman at no point. Do they, say, oh, Tarzan's got this, Batman's just going to stay in the corner. That doesn't happen at all. Both characters are equally balanced, and I love the back and forth that, we're both noblemen who were raised without parents. We were raised on our own. You grew up in a jungle of steel. I grew up in a vast jungle deep in the heart of Africa. And I really dig that. I really like how they play off each other and the similarities between Batman and Tarzan's origins and how they live and work in their own respective jungles. Because here in the jungles of Africa, it's kill or be killed, and of course we all know Batman's whole thing of no killing, and Tarzan's like, dude, you better get with the program really fucking quick because yeah. And what I like is that this isn't a Batman, even though this is an Elseworlds Batman, this Batman is very much like our typical Batman where he doesn't kill, he's also a detective, and it's very clear that he's been doing this for a while. Now, while this is called Claws of the Catwoman, the quote-unquote Catwoman we have in here is, like I said, she's essentially like Suri from Marvel Comics. In fact, the whole story of trying to find a relic and preserve her hidden kingdom. Yeah, this is very Black Panther-esque. And yeah, Finnegan Dent is your typical. He's almost like an Indiana Jones villain, which he's so maniacally evil and so self-aware that he's evil. It's kind of ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculous, but at the same time, it works for a story like this. And I don't understand why they called it Claws of the Catwoman because. Yeah, the Catwoman in here is an ally. In fact, a love interest for Bruce. So it just feels kind of weird that, this is called Claws of the Catwoman, but yet Catwoman is more of an ally than enemy. But I guess, I don't know what else you could have called it, honestly. Or like you could call it Batman Tarzan, the Lost City, or something like to that degree. Claws of the Catwoman feels a little misleading, if you ask me. But yeah, this is a pretty fun book. It's I got this for like $5 at a convention I was at, which I talked about in the live stream. This comic is just loads of fun. If you enjoy like fun, pulpy action, I would say give this a read. Both characters are very much written in character, like I said, even though it is a Elseworld story. My only thing is that it does, I don't really have, the only gripe is that Batman does get a little too preachy at points. But what can you do, right? So anyway, you guys tell me in the comments below. What did you guys think of Batman, if you've read it, Batman Tarzan Claws of the Catwoman? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.